That's really what's leading the movement. And then we'll hold here, 1. I think this is the most sort of simple way that you can get at stretching a hamstring like really effectively. Overly fussed about that anymore, to be honest. Because so that's the plan.
Hello everyone, I'm back at Gym Nation today and I'm back on the handstand training and also going to do a little bit of flexibility training today. I've got a very specific goal in mind today actually. I've given myself a skill that I'd like to perform and get caught on the camera and everything. So my recent training sessions have all been technical training sessions and those have gone really, really well. But now I'd like to introduce a little bit of an edge. I want to actually get something which looks really good. So the plan is to go from splits, put my hands on the floor and like rise up into a handstand and then go over into one arm, come back with control and back down into splits again. So that's my aim for the session. I'm going to build up to that with my warm-up, my flexibility. I'll do all of my handstand work again. I'm going to show you some of the flexibility bits today and a little bit of advice on a sort of a circuit that you could use to go away and develop your own flexibility yourself. And then I'll do some more work on my handstand stuff that you've seen a lot of before, and then we'll have a go at doing this skill.
Okay, so I've done my warm-up now. So I did a little bit of work on the foam roller just to get my muscles going. And then I did some isometric work. So that's like contraction work, using a resistance band, doing some walks, getting the muscles really, really fired up, and then working into my core. So now I'm feeling really in a good place to start doing my flexibility work. So I'm going to go with my method, which is to use dynamic flexibility first, and then I'm going to go into some preparatory stuff, which is the exercise which I'll teach you, and then I'm going to do my full flexibility positions. Okay, so I'm just going to start with some straight leg piked walks. I'm just coming straight down the leg, tapping the floor as I go, turn around there, and I'm drawing my stomach away as I do this, trying to create space between my abdomen and my thighs as I go. And that's my first line of those done. From here, I'm just going to go on to some kicks. So I'm introducing the kind of same idea as when I did the pike walks a moment ago. As the leg comes up, I'm vacuuming away my stomach, and that lets me bring the leg really nice and high up into the air, like this. Final one of these, I'm going to go for some backwards lunges. Just a nice sort of standing split kick. Same idea as all the other ones. The stomach vacuums away as I go down, and then folding really nice and long down the leg. A little bit of dynamic power in the leg which goes up in the air, and again reaching for the floor. Okay, so I'm primarily interested in my front splits for my skill today, but I am going to do some stuff sort of for my adductors. So again, we're going to have some kicks, although this time I'm going out to the side. I'm going to do 10 of these on each side, so that's 6. I'm bringing this hip in to support the rising action. Then I'm going to hold that one in place 5 seconds, trying to make a nice tall standing posture. Same on the other side, drawing my core, and boom, this hip assists with the lifting. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to hold that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Nice. Okay, next exercise for these. Just going to go for some Cossack squats. I want to have a slightly internally rotated anterior tilt in my hips. So that means I'm sticking my bum out to the back, pressing my sternum forwards. I want to go forwards and backwards, deep as I can. I'm going to do 10 times of this. I can actually come all the way back here if I want to. Come up, press through. Gosh, that's hard work. Press through. Cool, we'll just do these for the last 4. And then I'm going to spend some time in this one. I'm just pressing this knee open, helping myself through there. Anterior tilt, a little bit of rolling this leg into position. just opening up through there. Back on this one as well. Open up, open up, open up. A little bit of bringing this into position and just allowing that to kind of come through there. It's nice, feels good today. It's warming up quite nicely. Come to this center point. It's a little bit of more lengthening through there, a little bit of bendy, pulling in, and we'll move on to the next exercise from there. Okay, feeling very good today. Flexibility is coming really nice. Warm-up works really well for me. So one more exercise for me, warming up before we get into the bit where I'm going to teach you something. These are just called straddle up-downs. In gymnastics, we do them all up here, but I'm going to go for my preferred variation today, which is just to press my chest, bring it back up. Good, and I'm using my pelvis to make this happen. Anterior tilt, posterior tilt. So the whole action, the whole movement of my upper body is coming from my hips. That's really what's leading the movement. And then we'll hold here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come up nice and strong. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Okay, flexibility is feeling good today. So, I would not recommend that you, if you're just getting into flexibility, don't copy what I just did, because that's quite advanced, the level that I've got to. My muscles are extremely used to dynamic flexibility work, and I know exactly what I'm doing in terms of body preparation and getting myself to the point where I can perform stuff like that. And yeah, I've got close to 15 years worth of experience in the bag when I'm coming to do this kind of thing. However, what can be useful for you is the next part, which is, as I said all the way through that, I was talking about my hips and my abdomen and controlling the way I'm using my body to bring about the stretch. So in the next part, I'm going to teach you how you can get an effective stretch in your hamstring and an effective stretch in your quad. Just very, very simply, which can be implemented at the beginning of your session to start developing some flexibility. So that's what we're going to move on to now. Okay, so I'm going to begin with the hamstring. So this is, I think, this is the most sort of simple way that you can get at stretching a hamstring like really effectively and developing some range. So you're going to need a box. This is just an 18-inch box. I'm popping one of my legs up on the box. Okay, now what's quite key is, actually I'm going to take this back down. What's quite key is what I'm doing with my hips, okay? So with my hips, I can either be in an anterior tilt or a posterior tilt, okay? The pelvis is like a box which can rotate, and it's got your two legs kind of attached to it, okay? And the way that it's rotated influences the length of the muscles which attach to it, okay? For the hamstring, which attaches up through here in the glutes, it's in a long position if it's anteriorly tilted. This has just got longer. Now it's got shorter. Longer, shorter, okay? If we want to stretch a muscle, it needs to be in the long position, okay? So, what I'm going to do, bring myself up onto the box. I'm going to put a slight bend in this knee and also a slight bend in this knee to begin with, okay? The reason we have a slight bend in this knee is because in the beginning, if you're not used to doing this, most of this stretch will probably go into your calf if you haven't released off the knee and really targeted the hamstring, okay? Now, what I do from here is I'm going to just put an anterior tilt into my hips. I'm not going to go down it at all, just putting an anterior tilt in my hips, and I can already feel a stretch, okay? The next thing to do with my sternum is to reach forward for my toe, okay? So I've got that anterior tilt and reaching for my sternum. Reaching with my sternum for my toe, and there's already quite a significant stretch in there now, okay? So I've got this leg bent here. Now, if I want to build this, keeping the tilt, keeping the reach, I hinge at the hips, bending this knee here, hinging backwards, bending this knee, and that's going to build that stretch. It's more and more. Now, to come back, posterior tilt, okay? So I was here, posterior tilt, and I'm going to tense those muscles now. Engage. So those muscles which were really, really long have now used their own force. They're in a position where they're being stretched. using their own force to pull themselves back out of that position into a place where they feel strong, and the muscle is gradually going to be happier to go there because it knows I can go here, I can get back to a happy, safe land, no problem at all. And that's the key. If the muscle is going somewhere where it feels it's in danger, it will seize up. So we have to take it somewhere where it feels relatively uncomfortable and teach it how to get back to safety from there. And over time, it becomes more and more happy with being in the long position, stay there for longer, do more dynamic and intricate things, okay? So, again, this foot's up. Slight bend in this knee is relaxed. Anterior tilt in the hips, sternum forward to the toe. Hinging, bending this knee. Think about sternum and my nose going towards my toe. Strong back underneath. And again, strong back underneath. And again, and I can do that for reps. You can do it slower if you need to be really sure that you've got it, okay? After I've done 5 of those, I'm going to come forwards to here, where I've hinged a bit, and now I can actually work it from the other end. I can straighten that knee, bend and straighten the knee. I have to get really quite deep for this. Bend and straighten the knee, and that's going to work the hamstring from the other end because you have insertion points here and here. Whoa, falling over. Okay, so I've got my tilts forwards and backwards. I've got my knee bends, and then after both of those, 5 of each, I'm just going to spend time in the position. Now what I'm looking for here is I'm strong in the anterior tilt, strong in the assertion of my sternum, but I'm relaxing. Staying supported, very strong through here, but I'm bringing a sense of ease into that leg, just really feeling it like move out. And I move around in the position, you know? I don't just stay stationary and still. Really let it cultivate much more ease. And you can see I'm really starting to get quite deep. So, and then you obviously repeat on the other side. I'll repeat on the other side after the video to balance myself up. I feel very long on this side at the moment. But yeah, so that's a really nice effective way to get a stretch into your hamstring. A really good thing that you can put in at the beginning of your sessions. We will move on to stretching the quad, the quad and the hip flexor next. Okay, so this is a super standard looking stretch that you'll have seen people doing. It's like the classic quadricep stretch, right? You see people standing there doing like that. But we're going to put some intentions into it so it can actually really start to work for you and be a sensible, effective part of your workout. So just as you'd expect, you've got to get a hold of the foot, okay? But what we're actually going to do is bring the knee forwards first. This shortens everything, okay? Once I've brought the knee forwards, I'm going to bring in a posterior tilt, okay? Posterior, which was this one from just a moment ago, okay? So I'm bringing in that posterior tilt, and from there, I'm asserting the posterior tilt, and then I start to pull the foot backwards, okay? What I can also do now is press into my hand with my foot, keeping my posterior tilt, okay? The last little bit, you'll already have quite a substantial stretch by this point, if you've got the posterior tilt right. The last little bit I want to do is just rotate my leg slightly, keeping my knee pointing at the ground. So I'm not pulling my knee out to the side, okay? I'm just pulling this slightly out to there and pressing the posterior tilt even more. That should bring the stretch round into the hip flexor, okay? Pressing. And for this one, we can just hold it for time, really working the posterior tilt, pulling in with my hand and out to the side. Okay, about sort of 20 to 30 seconds in position, working, let's say 30 to 40 seconds, working that in the position. And again, asserting the posterior tilt, working against it with your hand. You can really warm up through the muscle, really sort of like get it going in that nice stretch position. Pay attention to those tilts again. That's what's really going to make this for you. Okay, let's go through it one more time. So the knee comes forwards, posterior tilt, then pull it into position, okay? Pulling that posterior tilt is what really activates the stretch. We can also do this one in a kneeling position, just here, okay? So same idea, I'm going for this leg, bring my hips back slightly, assert the posterior tilt, that'll already bring the stretch in, okay? Then if I engage my glutes in the side really strong, that's gonna build this stretch through the front. Draw in my stomach, really lengthening up through here, activate super strong, and then I can just build that stretch for time.
Okay, hello. So we've jumped forwards a little bit in time because my mic died. It wasn't recording anything I was saying, which wasn't very helpful. But it's okay, we've charged it up, it's had some lunch, so we're ready to keep going. So that was all the educational bit of the flexibility work. I hope that that was useful for you, that you'll be able to implement that in your own training. As always, I'm an online coach. If you would like more help with that, then feel free to shoot me a message on my Instagram or my email. I'll put a little thingy up with those there. But for now, we're going to carry on with my flexibility. So I'm going to get my splits warmed up. And in the meantime, whilst my thing was charging up, I've done all of my handstand work. So I'm going to put a little cut of the handstand training now. And now that you've seen what I've been getting on with, I'm going to warm up my split, and we will get on with some attempts of this skill. Okay, so I'm going to crack on with warming up my own splits. I've already done a round of this, but I'm going to kind of show you the kind of thing that I do. So I'm always starting off in a position like this, again using my anterior tilt to come down the leg. And I've already done a lot of my specific warm-up, so I'm being a bit more sort of general right now, just kind of getting it used to the idea of what's about to happen to it. Then I like to come in and get a hold of this one as well, trying to square my hips. My hips do come out of line a little bit, but I'm not overly fussed about that anymore, to be honest. Engaging my glutes strong in the side, and then we're going to bring in a little bit of dynamic work as well. So this is that idea of pulling the muscles back from the extended position that I was talking about earlier. And now I'm just going to do some bits to kind of nestle myself into the position. It's actually warmed up quite nicely, so I can still feel a bit of tension through the front hamstring there. But it's feeling pretty good. It's moving quite well, moving quite nicely. And yeah, so now just getting really, really nice and relaxed into it. I want as little resistance in the split as possible for when I start going for my attempts of the full skill. But this one's feeling pretty good. Now, I'm going to have a look at the other side. Same thing. Same idea, anterior tilt, coming down the leg. Now, this is my right leg, which is not my dominant leg. My left leg is my dominant leg. And what that means is if I was going to do a gymnastic skill or attempting a skill like I'm going to in a moment, I will use my left leg because that's the one where I feel the most dexterous. It's the one where I actually have the most flexibility and I feel the most able to use my skills. But I still stretch the right leg, and I still do all the same amount of work on it because I want to have that sort of balance going through the whole body. And it's just also a sense of completion, I suppose. Feel like it's nice to have things on both sides. That's why I'm training both sides on the one-arm handstand. Although there is actually a sort of like a logic to it. If you do train both, it's good. It's keeping the body balanced, isn't it? And understanding how one thing happens on one side can help you to learn a bit more about how you could improve it on the other side. So, but there we go. Split's feeling pretty good today. So I'm going to crack on with some attempts of this skill now. I will break it down for you again. I'll show you the bits of what I'm trying to do, and then we'll try and stick it all together. Okay, so the skill I want to try and do is splits, press to handstand, transfer, show nice controlled one-arm position, 3 seconds ideally, but if I can just show position and control, that would be great. Back, and then back down into splits on the other leg. So I'll show you all the component parts. So a press to handstand you'll have seen me do a lot. Press to handstand just looks like this. You float up into the position and you come back down.
But when we're doing it from the split, well, actually, there's a couple of different options. So you start in the splits position, and then you can either press up like this, where you squeeze up through the middle and up into position, or, which is the one, not the one I'm going to do, I'm going to do this one, where I come to the side, put my hands here, and then I sort of do this twist and rise up into position like that. Now, I just prefer that one. I think it looks really nice. I also like the sort of surprise of like turning to the side and flying up into the handstand. So I want to do that one, and then I want to transfer to one arm, show the position with control, come back, and then float back down into the other split. So if I started on that leg, I want to go from handstand and down into splits on this leg. So that's the plan. I'm going to do all my attempts on this video, but I've got a double challenge today, which is that I want to do it YouTube format, and I also want to get one for my Instagram, so I have to do it again portrait. So I might have to do this skill twice today, or I do have to do this skill twice today, but I want to get it on the YouTube first, and then I'll get it on the Instagram. Okay, let's get cracking with attempts. Okay, here we go. Attempt number 1. Well, there we go. One and done. That was pretty good. That took nowhere near as long as I thought it was going to. Now the challenge is, can I do it again for my Instagram video? Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. So I carried on and I did some attempts for my Instagram in the portrait format. I got one which was kind of passable, but none which were as good as that first one, which I did in the YouTube format. I really find doing my skills in the context of a YouTube video and getting to talk through my process really helps. I always end up getting like really nice stuff come out. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there because I was starting to get a bit frustrated and I wasn't really enjoying it. But I'll pop up a couple of the attempts. So yeah, here were some of the attempts. And then here was the one which was kind of semi-successful. But really the best one was that one that I got straight off the bat, having done all the preparation. That was really cool to see. And it was very exciting to do the skill that I wanted to do, that I'd set myself to do for the session. It's really exciting. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope that the flexibility part was useful for you, and that you can implement it in your own training, no matter what kind of training it is, even if you're not doing gymnastics, if you're just doing the gym normally, or if you want to do some more normal flexibility work. I hope that can be useful for you. And as I said earlier on, I am an online coach. I'm an in-person coach. If you would like to work on your flexibility or gymnastic skills, or even like strength and conditioning style stuff, I can work with you on that. So go ahead and shoot me a message on either @_coach.jamie_ or jamie@coachjamie.co.uk. That's an email. It would be really great to hear from you, and I'd love to work with you on whatever it is you're interested in doing. But for this video, if you enjoyed it, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and I'll very much look forward to seeing you in the next one.